just 9 eV, electrons will come out to the surface. If that energy is more than 9 eV, electrons are released. We call it as thermionic emission. There is light falling over the electrons. Electrons absorb the energy of light. They come out of the metallic surface and they just come to the metallic surface. Then it is photoelectric emission. If the energy of incoming light is more than 9.9 eV, then the electrons are again released from the metallic surface. We call it as photoelectric effect. If the field is strong enough to pull electrons, if the energy of the field given is more than 9 eV, then the field will pull out electrons from its metallic surface. That is field emission. And the secondary emission, if the primary electron is sufficiently strong enough to give extra kinetic energy more than 9 eV, so that the electrons are released from the metal surface, that's called secondary emission. Are you getting the idea what you mean by work function? Whatever be the process, that process must be sufficient enough to kick out electrons, to supply minimum kinetic energy required to release an electron from the metallic surface. This is the most important thing. This is the connection between them. That's why work function means the minimum kinetic energy, required to emit an electron just out of the metallic surface is known as work function of the metal. What do you mean by work function of the metal? One more question. Simply write this: the minimum kinetic energy required to emit an electron just out of the metallic surface. I will underline this word just, because you don't forget this particular word, just out of the metallic surface. So different metals have different work functions. One metal A has work function phi1, another metal B has a work function phi2, and this varies from 2 eV to 5 eV for all the metals, all those metals. 2 eV to 5 eV for metals like platinum and other higher metals. This goes up to 5.7, 5 eV, 4.8 EV, 5 EV, 5.3 EV, like that. For copper, arsenide, some other lighter metals, it will be of the order of 2 to 3 EVs. Electron energies are measured in electron volts. Let me clear what do you mean, because it is not measured in joules. As you know, energy is to be measured in joule, but electronic energies, the energies of electrons, are not measured in joules, because the energies of electrons are so small in such a way that they are of the order of 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joule. You see, 1 joule okay, 2 joule okay, 10 to the power of minus 3 joule okay, understood. But 10 to the power of minus 6 joule, very difficult to understand. But 10 to the power of minus 19 joule is highly difficult to understand and comprehend. That's why we use different scale for this. We use a different unit for that, which is called electron volt. What do you mean by electron volt? Let's see. See, there is a positive plate, there is a negative plate. Okay, from the negative plate electron is released. Okay, what is the voltage between these two plates? Let it be 1 volt. Let it be 1 volt, because you have to make this positive plate and negative plate stronger and stronger. How do you make it stronger and stronger? By applying more and more potential difference between the plates. So if the potential difference between the plates is 1 volt, then one electron will be having sufficient amount of kinetic energy to come out of negative plate to the positive plate. How do you calculate the energy of a moving charge or energy of a charge? Energy on a charge is measured using this formula. W is equal to what? Q into V, right? Because the definition of voltage says V is equal to work done per charge. Do you remember? Electric potential is the work done per unit charge. If you remember the first chapter in electrostatics, electric charges and fields, electric potential and capacitance, in that chapter it comes. Electric potential is work done to bring a unit positive charge from infinity to that point is known as electric potential at that point. Yes, W by Q means W is equal to Q into V. W is equal to Q into V. What do you mean by W? W is work done. Work done means energy. We know the work energy theorem from first view. Work and energy are equivalent. That's why in place of W we use E. Energy is equal to Q means what? Charge. What is the charge here? Electronic charge, E itself, and V. So E is equal to EV is the basic equation in which we calculate energies. Kinetic energy of electron is the product of its charge. It is the product of its charge and the potential difference applied between them, between the plates, or it is the product of charge and the potential difference in which the electron is moving. If you make this 2 volt, the electron comes out with more velocity, more attractive power. If you make it 10 volt, the electron will come out with even more velocity because the kinetic energy is more. Means if you increase V, electrons kinetic energy is also increased, because you can't increase the electronic charge, you know, electronic charge is a constant. Electronic kinetic energy is directly proportional to its voltage given. So let's calculate what is the kinetic energy of electrons. What is the kinetic energy of electrons under the potential difference of 1 volt? What is the kinetic energy of electrons under the potential difference of 1 volt? If you apply 1 volt potential difference, what will be the kinetic energy of electrons? With what velocity it comes out? With what energy it comes out? With which it is moving? For that, put what is the value of E? 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb of charge multiplied by 1, because the voltage here is 1. That's why 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 itself is coming. 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19, it is not charge now, it is energy now. That's why it is to be measured in joule, right? 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joule is the energy corresponding to an electron moving under the potential difference of 1 volt. We call this energy as 1 EV. We call this energy as 1 EV. This electron has 1 EV energy. This electron has 1 EV energy. Okay. If you make it 10 volt, if you make it 10 volt, then the electron now is coming with 10 EV. 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 into 10, it means 16 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joule. 10 times 1 EV, right? That's why it is 10 times 1 EV. It is now coming with 10 EV of energy, more kinetic energy, more the number, more kinetic energy, and whatever the voltage you apply, the same will be the energy of the electron. Okay, if you apply 3.7 EV here, V here, if you applied 3.7 volts here, electron will have 3.7 EV. 3.7 volts into 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 is nothing but 3.7 EV, because 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 is called 1 EV. 1 EV into 3.7 is nothing but 3.7 EV itself. That's why the voltage value, the value of the voltage is nothing but the value of energy in the case of electrons. This is the definition of electron volts, the energy represented in the form of electron volts. Clear? Okay. Now this energy is measured in EVs. Now metal A has phi 1 2.3 EV, metal B has phi 2 which is 3.4 EV, and metal 3 has something else. So these are all energies required for the emission of electrons from these metals. Means if you want to release electrons from this metal surface A, you have to use 2.3 volts. If you apply 2.3 volts for that metal, so if you apply 2.3 volts just in front of that metal, electrons will come out with energy of 2.3 EV. Okay, phi 2, this has 3.4 EV. If you apply 2.3 EV for metal B, you won't get electrons because this is a hard metal which requires more kinetic energy. You have to use 3.4 volts for the emission of electrons from the metal B. That's why its energy is 3.4 EVs. Okay, so work function of a metal is different for different metals. This we must understand. So after the discussion of different types of electrons emissions, and after knowing what you mean by work function, we will go to directly discussing the photoelectric effect, which is nothing but the most important part of this particular chapter, and our NEET part, our competitive examination questions part will also come from this chapter further. Okay, I think we have crossed the time limits, and we will keep that discussion for the next class. Okay, good morning. We were discussing about dual nature of matter and radiation, the unit second, the volume second, where we were discussing about the nature of cathode ray tube, the discovery of electron, and the processes in which the electrons are getting liberated from the metal surfaces. Because the basis for all these experiments is the phenomenon that whenever we supply kinetic energy, sufficient amount of kinetic energy to the metal surfaces, charged particles which are very small, which are having very small amount of charge of 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb, was released from the metallic surfaces. Those were named as electrons, and those electrons mass, those electrons charge, all are measured by J.J. Thomson, and it was termed as one of the most fundamental entity of the universe. Later on, we have discussed several methods of electron emission from the metal surfaces. Like if you list out, there was thermionic emission, where we heat a metal surface to a sufficiently high temperature, and later on from the metal surface electrons used to emit. And next one is photoelectric emission. Photoelectric emission means it is a process in which certain metals, whenever certain frequency of light, maybe it is ultraviolet or visible, when it falls over metal surfaces, electrons are used to emit from its surface, ejected from its surface. This is photoelectric effect. And the third type of emission is called field emission. In field emission, we used to apply very strong positive field such that it is having a very high potential difference and strong electric field, such a way that the electrons are attracted from the opposite metallic plate, which is cathode essential. And the last one is called secondary emission. In secondary emission, it is a quite mechanical process in which electrons, primary beam of electrons were used to kick out electrons from the free orbits. Okay, so here electron kicks out another electron by the process of mutual collision. Okay, it's a physical process, mechanical process. So all these are processes of electron emission we discussed yesterday. And for all these processes, the basic thing is metal has a certain amount of energy. It requires certain amount of kinetic energy to be given to the metal surface, such a way that the electron will come out of the metallic surface. This extra kinetic energy, which is to be supplied to the metal surface from outside, has a minimum value. For every metal it is different. So for copper it is different, for aluminum it is different, for gold is different, it is different. The minimum amount of energy which is required to emit an electron, not only emit an electron, just emit an electron, is called its work function. So this much we have discussed yesterday. There is work function for every metal, which is represented by phi. This work function will vary from 2 eV to 5 eV generally for all metals, whether it is alkali metal or any conducting metal or heavy metal, whatever it is. From 2 eV to 5 eV, all those work functions will vary from 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 like that, 3.4, 4.75 like that. For copper and all it is 4.75 eV. For heavy metals it is up to the order of 5 eV like that. The work function is different for different metals. And we measure this kinetic energy in terms of EVs, means electron volt. Electron volt is a appropriate unit for the measurement of smaller energies. Smaller energies like the energies of electrons, the kinetic energies of electrons, kinetic energies of atoms possible. If you want to release an electron from the atomic surface, you need energy not in terms of joules, you need energy in terms of EVs. To go from one galaxy to another galaxy, you cannot count the distance in kilometers, you know, because kilometer is a very smaller amount of distance compared to lakhs and crores of kilometers distance between galaxies. They are appropriately measured in terms of light years, you know. We use a different unit there because the distances are too large. Here the energy is too small to be measured. That's why we take electron volt. What do you mean by electron volt? One electron volt is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joule. This is called 1 eV. If 2 eV is the energy, then 2 times 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joule, we must understand. This much we have discussed yesterday. This is the recap of yesterday's class. Today we will go further. Today we will come directly to photoelectric emission and its details. Okay, we already have observed that Heinrich Hertz was the first person to observe this phenomenon, where he was conducting an experiment to detect electromagnetic waves. He has given 2 metallic balls to a battery, and for this battery, one ball is connected A, another ball is connected B, and there is a strong voltage between these two, such that a spark is produced between them. Electric spark is produced between them. This electric spark is due to the electric oscillations, electromagnetic oscillations. Okay, we will not go into the details of electromagnetic theory here. This is an electric spark. Electric spark means from one plate to the another plate, electrons are jumping out. It is the emission of electron from one plate A to another plate B. Switch off. Okay, release of electrons from A to B. Whenever ultraviolet light falls over these metallic balls, immediately Hertz has observed that the strength of this spark, if the spark was very thin in the beginning, later the spark become very bright and dark later when ultraviolet light falls over this particular experiment. So ultraviolet ray improves or stimulates more emission of electrons from metallic surfaces A and B. Means if ultraviolet light falls over the metal, electrons are released, negative charges are released. Otherwise, in other aspect, how he came to know that electrons are released, negative charges are released? Whenever a body loses negative charges, it becomes positively charged. Slowly, I was a neutral body, slowly I am getting positive charges, means the meaning is I am losing negative charges. Losing of a negative charge means gaining of a positive charge, because a neutral body will be having positive and negative charges in equal numbers. Whenever you lose electrons, you will become positive charged body. That's why whenever A is a neutral body or A has fixed number of positive charges which are measurable, when after the emission of ultraviolet rays, if the number of charges present on A increases, positive charges present on the A increases, then it is meant that negative charges are emitted from the metal A. That was the conclusion drawn by Mr. Hertz, and he was the first person to detect this phenomenon. But to study this phenomenon in detail, it was done by Hallwach and Lenard. Hallwach and Lenard were two scientists who have elaborately studied this particular phenomenon, emission of electrons when light of certain frequency falls over that. They have studied it using an experimental observation, using an experimental setup. After that experiments, they repeated this experiment with several parameters, and they have drawn certain conclusions. These are the experimental results what we have observed. We don't know the reason, because until then the explanation, the proper explanation for photoelectric effect, why such a thing happens, whenever light falls over a metal, why should electrons should be emitted, that was not known until unless Einstein has come and he has proposed quantum theory of radiation for the explanation of photoelectric effect, and he successfully explained the photoelectric effect, why it happens. So we will come to the details of that later. Before that, we will understand what are the experimental factors, experimental observations made by Hallwach and Lenard, and they are very, very important for our board examination and also for the NEET aspect, because if you know the experimental variations, experimental details of this particular phenomenon, then you will be able to know the relationship between different variables of photoelectric effect, different aspects related to photoelectric effect. That's why it is very important to study the experiments done and the observations listed by Hallwach and Lenard. Okay. So their experimental setup was very simple. It contained a cathode ray tube, as we have seen yesterday. There it was an evacuated glass tube, and this glass tube has no air. All the air is sucked out. It is a vacuum pump, and there was a cathode which is connected to a battery through a commutator. You know what you mean by commutator? Commutator is a particular thing which is used to reverse the signs. Suppose if you want to make it positive, then another plate negative, this is positive, this is negative. If you want to make, after certain time you want to make this positive and this negative, then you use commutator. Okay. Okay, this is schematic representation of our Hallwash and Lenard experiment. Okay, here this is the commutator, this is the microammeter. You can give the microammeter here also, anywhere. I have given it here, no problem. However, it measures the current whenever the circuit becomes complete. V is the voltmeter which is used to measure the voltage applied. Microammeter is the ammeter which is used to measure the current flowing in this circuit. And this is the cathode C and this is the anode A. Okay, and there is a vacuum between them. Here it is a special tube in which another tube is used to allow light to enter into. Okay, it is having a window, it is having a special tube through which ultraviolet light enters the tube. Okay, ordinary cathode ray tubes are simple tubes, but this photoelectric tube is having a special window. From this window, ultraviolet light is used to enter. Actually, it is having a quartz plate. This lid is having a quartz crystal. Why they are using quartz crystal? Because whenever sunlight falls over sunlight contains X-ray, visible light, infrared, everything. Whenever sunlight falls over quartz crystal, it will absorb all the radiations and it will allow only ultraviolet radiations to pass through. That is the quality of quartz crystal. That's why they have used the quartz crystal for the window, so that whenever sunlight falls over it, only ultraviolet light is passed through. Otherwise, if they are using any other light source also, quartz crystal will allow only ultraviolet light to pass through. That is the quality of quartz plate. That's why they have used this quartz lid for this particular thing. Okay. Whenever ultraviolet light is used, okay, fine, that is a metal, some metal, copper or something, they have used a metal, or they might have used certain metallic oxide or metallic paste to smear over another plate. Anything is possible, but there is a metallic plate. They have used ultraviolet light of certain frequency. Certain frequency means ultraviolet lights vary in frequency from 800 gigahertz to 30,000 gigahertz. This is the wavelength range of ultraviolet rays. You know what you mean by gigahertz? Gigahertz means 10 to the power of 12 hertz. 800 gigahertz to 30,000 gigahertz is the range of ultraviolet frequencies, and different frequencies are there for different metallic surfaces. Whenever some light of certain frequency is used, say 800 gigahertz is used for a particular metal, and we will give a very strong electric field here, positive electric field here, so that if electrons are released from the plate, this anode attracts them, and those attracted electrons will pass through the circuit and current will be recorded if the circuit becomes complete. That is the setup here, and we can control the current here using the rheostat. That was the setup. Even though anode has zero potential, see what happens here is anode has zero potential, suppose, means it neither attracts nor repels, it is simply neutral. If ultraviolet light of certain frequency falls over them, then electrons are released from the metallic surface with all velocities. This is very important thing to be noticed. Whenever from the metallic surface, whenever electrons are released, don't think that all electrons are coming with same velocity. Some electrons which are very close to the upper surface, which are having very high velocities already, they will have very high velocities and they will come with very high velocities. We call it as Vmax. Some other electrons which are below it, little below it, we will think that they are little below it, or they are little moving with little slow velocity compared to these electrons. Then those electrons will come with another velocity called V2. Another electron may come even smaller velocity called V3. Another electron may come even with smaller velocity V1, and some electron will just come to the surface, becomes independent, neither moves upward nor goes inner. It is just outside the surface. We call it as V naught. Here, whenever electrons are released from the metallic surface, They are released in different velocities. They are ranging from 0 to maximum velocity, 0 to any maximum velocity. It all depends on the energy that you give. If you give smaller energy, that energy is sufficient to bring all the electrons outside the metal surface, but certain electrons will stay on the metal surface, they just come out. Some electrons may come with a little slow velocity, some electrons may come with little higher velocity, and some electrons may go with very high velocity, which is called maximum velocity. That's why whenever electrons are released from the metal surface, don't think that all electrons are coming with same velocity. Some electrons are coming with smaller velocities, some electrons will be coming with higher velocities, and there will be electrons which are coming with certain velocity called maximum velocity for a given frequency nu. We represent frequency by nu. Okay, yes, for a certain frequency nu there is a maximum velocity called Vmax. Now anode is neither attracting nor repelling. The electrons themselves are sufficient enough to enter into the anode and there will be a current. Okay, suppose sometimes all the electrons, see, Vmax is the highest velocity, this electron is capable enough to reach the plate A, and there will be a very small current here. And if you give positive charge to the plate A, it becomes slightly positive, then it is able to attract other electrons are also, which are very slowly coming, or which are slowly came and just stopped there itself, because their energy is not sufficiently high. Vmax is only certain electrons are having Vmax, not all the electrons, only certain electrons are having Vmax. Majority of the electrons are having variable velocities. Okay, that's why to attract those electrons which are not able to come out to a larger distance, we use anode potential. If you increase anode potential, means if you make the anode more and more positive, you are able to get all the electrons into the plate and the current recorded in the ammeter will be increased. Are you getting the point? We will start with anode potential 0, Va 0. We will keep it 0 in the beginning, and there will be a very small current called I. We will call it as I0, very small current called I0. Later on, we will start increasing Va. We will make it positive, more and more positive. The I increases. I starts increasing to I. There will be an increase in current. Okay, this is the thing. This is the scheme of experimentation. Okay, these electrons are absorbed by the plate and the current is recorded. Now, Hallwach and Lenard have tried different parameters. What are those parameters? Whenever you are using a light, you can use light in two ways. One is bright light, dim light. Okay, earlier the intensity of light was thought as brightness. More brightness means highly energetic light. Even though we also in common sense, in common terms, we think that bright light means high energy. Okay, that was the idea. So when Lenard and Hallwach were doing experiments, they thought that bright light means very high energy light. Dim light means low energy light. Okay, so there is something called intensity. They thought that by increasing intensity you can give more and more energy to the light. Okay, because you want to give more energy to the metallic plate. That's why how do you give more energy to the metallic plate? By giving more bright light. That's what their idea. So they first tried with intensity. Next, what they tried? They tried with frequency. They changed the frequency. First they have used say 800 gigahertz bright light, dim light. Later they have tried 900 gigahertz bright light, dim light. Later they have tried 1000 gigahertz bright and light, like that, dim, like that. They changed the intensity of light. Later they changed the frequency of light also. Later, what they tried? They tried with the anode potential. They tried with anode potential. Why anode potential? Because anode potential variation gives a lot of insight about the energies of the electrons, the maximum velocities of the electrons. Why? Because when the anode potential is zero, even though anode potential is zero, some electrons are able to kick out, able to hit the metallic plates, and there is a current. Which kind of electrons are able to hit the plate? Only those electrons whose velocity is maximum. By knowing the maximum velocity of electrons, you are directly knowing its kinetic energy, right? So there is a direct way of knowing the kinetic energy of electrons by calculating the anode potential. That's why variation of anode potential also became very important in this experiment. Fourth,